We're gonna talk about it's the new SNA US 6 kilowatts inverter. Um, Installation requirements for introducing our new off-grid model SNA US 6K installation. This version is gonna be with the breaker content for the installation. Uh, um, Installation site selection, system wire display, battery connection, PV connection, AC connection, EPS load connection, generator connection, and neutral uh, PE bond introduction and parallel connection. Number one, location selection for installation. Indoor installation recommended for a 6K off-grid inverter. It's a IP20 rating, so please avoid high salt and humidity. Consider additional lightning protection. Installation in high salt and humidity areas can be hasten corrosion. In region prone to thunderstorm, additional lightning protection is advisable. Dusty environments, install dustproof nets. Regular cleaning is required. Prevent dust and particles from hindering equipment operation by installing dustproof nets. Regular cleaning ensure proper ventilation, prevent from overheating. Built-in secondary lightning protection. The equipment feature built-in secondary lightning protection can reduce the risk of damage from lightning strikes. Number two, system diagram. So like I said, this inverter is the version that comes with the breakers. So it comes with a battery breakers, uh, load breakers, grid breakers, and generator breakers. And also it comes with a PB switch. So this way it's more easy to install. You don't have you don't need require additional breaker to buy or during the installation. Battery connection. Uh, no deep switches needed between the SNA US series and the battery for communication. Battery connection. The device supports maximum charging and discharging current of 140 amps. It is recommended to select appropriate switch between the base on the battery, maximum charging, and discharging current. We recommend choosing a 200 amp uh, with 80-volt pack switch to ensure the battery system requirements are met. It can be used CAN or RS485 communication cable between the inverter and battery. If you do not get the communication cable or the battery doesn't included a communication, um, you can use lead acid setting or mode. Also, some batteries has different pin definition for a cable. So please must be use the right one because some cable comes with like one side of the cable battery side and the other side is inverter side. When using the built-in switch to control the battery, it is advisable to avoid individual operating individual batteries during high power charging and discharging to prevent the battery overcurrent and ensure the safety and stability of the battery system. S- Um, the inverter is most of the um, and our inverter use the regular Ethernet cable, but some batteries they use different pin out for the cables. Uh, the communication protocol between SNA US 6K and different battery varies. Please choose the corresponding battery code. For example, HANA ESS battery utilize the CAN protocol with battery code number 1. Please check the pin definition where HANA ESS use pin 4 and pin 5, which is regular, most battery use it. Pin 4 is the CAN high and pin 5 is the CAN low. Shared battery. A shared battery system can better balance the load, extending battery life and improving the overall stability and reliability of the system. In shared battery is used with multiple inverters, increasing energy utilization. Shared battery allow multiple inverters to use the same set of batteries. This enable more efficient utilization of battery storage, avoiding wasted of battery resources. Enhancing reliability, shared batteries can improve system reliability in the event of failure or maintenance requirements. For one inverter, other inverter can still continue to use the shared battery resources, ensuring a stable operation. 4. PV connection. In a parallel system, we do not recommend sharing solar panels. Each machine should be individual connected to its own solar panels. PV connection. Um, the SNA comes with two MPPT, so you can connect two string of solar panels. It can support DC power supply mode suitable for lab testing application, ensuring maximum input voltage is below 480 voltage DC. Precaution, the PV plus uh, or negative terminal of panel must not be grounded. Do not use common PV string input between different devices. Ensure good insulation and keep PV input line dry. Support identical string input applicable when the number and orientation of the panel in each string are consistent. String input VOC is below 480 volt DC. PMPP is recommended below 385 volt DC, and maximum current does not exceed 2 times 17 amp. Considering that the maximum input power of each MPPT is 4,000, it is recommended to consider a maximum of 1.2 times the array allocation, which is 4,000 MPPT or 8,000 watts. Support independent string input universally applicable, ensuring string VOC is below 480 volt DC. Same thing, PMPP is 385 and maximum current per string is 17 amp. Series example. Uh, this is example of 4 panels with 4 times 250 watts module. Both add up, but the amp stay at the same. This is the most common method, connection in series first and then parallel. Uh, Support independent and DPT inputs. Support sharing one string for 2 inputs. The PV port should not be connected to the ground wire. When parallel connection string, when parallel connecting string, the number and the brand of each string should be the same. PV voltage, PV input voltage range, 100 to 400 volt, 480 volt DC. Maximum solar panel series quantities, voltage of a single panel, for 38 volts. Maximum is 12 pieces. Uh, Parallel installation. So this is 2 string of 1 times 1000 watts panel. Uh, Volt is stay the same and add ups. So this is 1000 watts. You add it together is 2000 watts at 152 volts and 16 amps. So max PV input current per MPPT is 17 amp. Max number of solar panel in parallel current 8 amp. 2 string solar panel in parallel is allowed, but the current will be limited to 17 amp. So it's saying you can uh, you can put plenty parallel, but it will only take 17 amps. So you can over amp it, but you cannot over voltage. Max PV input power per MPPT is 4000, but I think you can go up to 5000 now per MPPT. Max solar panel quantities. Power of a single panel 250 watts. So based on the max input voltage limitation, the max number per string should be 12 pieces. If you need 4000 per MPPT, so that's 2 times 8 pieces is suggested. So it's 16 panels. AC connection. Be sure to connect AC wires with correct polarity. If line and neutral wires are connected reversely, it may cause utility shorted circuit when this inverter are work in parallel operation. AC connection. Before making AC connection, be sure to open DC protector or disconnect first. I also recommend use a multimeter to check the correct polarity of the wires. I've seen many installer, they made mistake this. They switch the wire. Also remove insulation sleeve 10 millimeter for 6 conductor and shorten pace line and neutral conductor neutral 3 nm. Insert AC input wires according to polarities, indicating on a terminal block and tighten the terminal screw. Be sure to connect power earth protective conductor first. Make sure the wires are secured and connected. Due to the inclusion of both AC bypass load and AC charging in AC input, if both charging and bypass load are at peak levels, it is necessary to ensure that the AC input cable and breaker option consider the maximum AC charging and maximum load. Um, on the manual, it recommends a 10 gauge, but if you're charging and support the load, um, I would recommend use 8 gauge or 6 gauge because the grid input you can use 50 amp breaker, which is the bypass is about 9,000 watts available. um, yep. EPS load connection. Separate port for essential load. Ensure the critical house load appliances continue to operate during power outage, providing uninterrupted power. The maximum output power of the EPS is 6,000 volt amp. If it exceeds 6,000 volt amp, the following action will occur. There will be overload prompt at 1.1 times the rated capacity. If the load exceed 1.1 times the rated capacity for 10 seconds or exceed 1.5 times the rated capacity for 5 seconds or exceed 2 times the rated capacity for 5 seconds, the overload will be cut off. The load connection will be cut off. So most likely max is 6,000 watts or 3,000 per line. Um, yes. Generator connection. A dedicated generator interface that allow for a quick switch to generator mode in the event of power outage, ensuring seamless off-grid operation. Generator features. Support for dry contact remote start and manual start. The generator offers two start modes, remote start and manual start. User can choose the appropriate method based on their needs. Um, Smart load and AC coupling functionally. When the generator is not connected, the generator port support connecting some infrequently used load or AC coupling function. This enhance the overall efficiency and flexibility of the system, making the energy management more intelligent and efficient. Support for generator bypass load and generator charging. The system support load operation in generator bypass mode and can also use the generator to charge the battery. The maximum current for the input relay is 60 amp, ensuring the safety and reliability of the equipment. I think the maximum input is 7,300 watts for the 6K. Um, the new feature Gen boost function. This is the newer function. When the generator output power is less than the load power, the system will automatically compensate the load using solar PV if available and battery power, ensuring stable power supply to the load. When using the generator, if the generator cannot be operated via the dry contact, it will be needed to be manually shut down after the grid power is restored. So, power outage, discover that the generator cannot be started via dry contact. Uh, Start the generator manually. Once the generator is running, the grid power return. Now, using the grid power will with the generator running idle. So you need to manually shut down the generator. So in this case, I think you can put it together with some kind of uh, transfer switch with the grid input and the, oh wait, no, never mind. Yeah, what he's saying is the generator relay will not close if the grid, there's a grid, if the grid is present. Generator operation diagram in off-grid condition. This is most likely the diagram. The normal loads. This is thermal loads is the house load normally. EPS load is the critical loads. Generator relay, it's optional because it's already have a breaker. And also PB breaker is optional also. A single inverter allow a maximum input power of 7.3 kilowatts. So we recommend selecting a generator capacity based on the system maximum allowable input power. Lux Power has recently released a Gen Boost feature which allow our PV and battery to supplement power to the load if the generator power is less than the load power. Generator working in single-phase parallel system. This is with multiple inverters. Same thing. In parallel system, we recommend connecting the generator after parallel the inverters. So it is still recommended to connect all for single generator. You must connect to all generator port its inverter in parallel system in order to work. Generator working in three-phase parallel system. Same thing. In parallel system, we recommend connecting the generator after paralleling the inverters. Yes. Neutral PE bond introduction. The connection between the neutral line and the protective earth line on the EPS load. Neutral and PE bond introduction. Internal neutral grounding. Safety protection, prevent electric shock and ensuring the device casing is safe during fault. Fault current path provides a low impedance path allowing quick fault current return triggering protective device to disconnect power swiftly. Uh, Simplified installation. No external grounding needed. Simplify installation and reduce cost by eliminating separate neutral line grounding on the EPS load side. Consistently and reliability ensure consistent and reliable grounding. avoiding issue from poor contact or connection error. So the inverter comes with the automatic neutral bond. It can set on the web or setting number 26. Uh, it's called NP bond. Parallel connection. SNA US 6K models support parallel connection for 2 to 16 units. It is support both split phase and three-phase parallel configuration. 3 units connected in parallel to form a single phase system. The system cannot accept shared PV input at any time. Uh, this is the parallel system for 3 inverters wiring diagram. 3 units connect in parallel to form a three-phase system. Same thing. The system cannot accept shared PV input at any time. Three-phase system is more what you call that? The wiring must be pay attention because it's kind of complicated. I think that's about it. Any question?
Yes. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
yes.
Ah,
Yes.
this is Carlos.
Hi, Carlos.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, I have some question, but not about this topic. I have some question about the monitoring settings. So I don't know if we can check the menu, but to understand what means each parameters or each settings for the monitoring.
Um, which setting?
Yeah, for example, I would like to understand what is the correct way or the mod words for the units. For example, if I
For
want to use the grid to charge batteries or only use the system like backup, I want to understand who do that. What is the ways to do that? Okay, the difference mode
for
for the inverter.
is this for the 6K or the 12K?
Yeah, 6K. And another question is to check the correct way to make a sport power to the grid with this inverter. Okay,
Okay, the 6K, the setting is different compared to the 12K.
it's 6K.
So yes, so if you want, you said you want to charge the battery first?
Yeah, I want to understand the different mode work for the inverter, or maybe you can explain us what is the different modes. For example, use backup. Another mode can be use the grid all the time and just use backup where it's no grid, or things like
Okay,
that.
so if you have the 6K and you only want it to use as a backup, what you can do is you can set the AC first time
Yep.
and AC. You can see my screen, right?
Yep. Yes.
So you set this, you put 23 and
Yeah.
59
Yeah.
and you press set,
Yes.
and the inverter will always use the grid to cover your load.
Okay.
And if there's power outage, it will use the battery.
Yeah. What about the solar production in that time when we have a grid? The priority will be use the solar production for the loads, and then if the solar is not enough, we will use the grid.
So if your PV production is enough to cover the load, and it will only use your PV.
Okay, it's a priority, use the PV, okay?
Yes.
And is not enough, I will use the grid, okay?
Yes.
And on the night, when I don't have a PV production, I will use the grid.
If you set it this way as a backup, yes.
Okay, and I will use the battery when the grid is not there and the PV is not there, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what about I want to use the battery for some times to discharge for a frank time? Can you show me what is the correct way to do that?
So this AC first, this time is when you use the grid. You put
Yes.
the time when you want to use the grid.
Uh-huh.
The AC first, this A first setting,
Yes.
this setting, you use this when you want to use the grid.
Yeah, we understand. Okay. If I want to
So
use it,
any time that is not, so for example, this is 8 in the morning to 6 p.m.
Mhm.
So this time it will use the grid.
Okay.
After 6 p.m. to 8 a.m., it will use the battery.
Understand. Okay. And in another way, I will use the battery. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. And another question is, I want to know what is the correct settings to export energy to the grid and hybrid settings.
Um,
What mean
um,
what means each setting where you say a hybrid setting?
so the SNA 6K, it depends where the location. If you're in the United States, um, it can be only set as a off-grid inverter. Also, if you can export, you have to get a agreement with your utility that you can export before we can enable it.
Yeah, we are in Mexico. We can export, okay, and we got the CTs for that inverter. Just I need to know what is the correct or what means each.
So there's a hybrid setting.
Yes,
I believe it's number 17, I think, on the screen. Or you see this hybrid setting?
yes,
You can export
yes.
and you put how many percent you can export to the grid.
100.
So 100% gonna be 6 kilowatts.
Okay, 100%. Yes.
6 kilowatts. So in order to export, I think most inverter comes with a off-grid setting. So you have to contact me,
Okay.
message me, so I can enable it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. We are here.
Any more question?
Yes, I have one question. I think I'm seeing that you can schedule some time to feed your loads from the battery. Is there a way we can set things up? Let's say we program it for 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. to get the loads from the batteries, but can we limit that to a certain percentage of the battery? Then meaning that once the battery reaches, say, 50 or 40%, it goes back to the grid, or it's only about hours and time?
Yes, you can do by percent. So the setting will be under discharge setting. So you see this on-grid setting and of discharge SOC. So if you put 50 over here, it will only discharge your battery up to 50%, and then it goes back to grid.
Okay, that's regardless of the time we set up, right?
Um, the time, so you have to set over here the 50%, and then the time. So like I said, AC first. Um, s- so for example, if you only wanted to use the battery nighttime, like I said, AC first will use the grid first. So you do the other way. So if you want to use the grid 6 p.m. to 8 a.m., this is how you set it. So the starting will be on the end time and the stop time will be on the start time.
Okay. Yeah, but if we reach 50%, then it goes back to the grid, right?
That's correct. Yeah, before or whichever come first. Whichever come first, the start time.
Okay, understand. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have another question. Can you please explain us what means the another parameters for this hybrid system? Hybrid parameters?
Okay.
Yeah,
Which one?
they say PV and AC take loads jointly. What means that? And why we need?
So if your Phoebe is not enough to take the load, AC will join to take together. So for example, your load is 2 kilowatts
Yep.
and your PV is only 1 kilowatts. So it's gonna take from the grid if battery is not available only.
Okay, but that can be enabled now, right? I want to help the consumption for the grid. Okay.
Yes.
And another one is grid city connection. That means is I have a city connected, I need to choose enable.
Um, this is for external only, city connection.
Mm,
So I'm not sure if the distributor for the inverter they
yes.
have already,
Yep.
but it's just like the 12K. If you have the 12K before, you can feed back the panel.
Yep.
You can go with this one with the if you have the CT.
Okay. So I've add the CTs for the inverter. I need to put that parameter is enable. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
only if you have the external CT.
Yeah, the external CT that which is connected to the inverter
Right.
on CTs connection CTs connector. Hmm?
Yes, there's a connection on the inverter.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. I think for now I'm fine.
Okay.
Hello.
If you're on the group chat, you can contact me directly if you have any question.
Sure.
Any more question?
No, I'm fine too. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you for joining the webinar today. We'll see you on the next one.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.